Welcome back to the vet, moments away from the Titans and Eagles. And a perfect day for football here in the city of brotherly love. 32 degrees, wind chill in the 20s. Let's join the third member of our team on the sideline, Beasley Reese.
Thanks, Gus. The Philadelphia Eagles feel they have a serious 12th man in this stadium. One would be the fans, among the toughest in the league. The other one, I'm standing on it, it's the turf. Generally considered the worst in the National Football League. Now, Eddie George, who's from Philly, disagrees. He says the old Astrodome in Houston was worse when the team was the Oilers. Eddie had to buy 130 tickets today, but don't look for his family in the stands. He told them to wear a disguise, wear nothing Titans. These fans are that tough. Back to you, Gus.
All right, Beasley, it'd be really dangerous to wear Titan stuff in this place. Jeff Fisher, 9-4, began his coaching career with the Eagles as a defensive backs coach with Buddy Ryan, his team coming off a 16-13 loss to Jacksonville. And Andy Reid in his second year, the Eagles have won 4 straight, including last week's impressive road win at Washington, 23-20. Eagles have won the toss, and they will receive Craig Hendrick kicking it away, and the dangerous Derek Mason back deep. Rather, Brian Mitchell. Here's Mitchell inside the 5, and Mitchell gets up to the 25-yard line. A 22-yard return. Terry Killens with the special teams tackle. So Donovan McNabb, what a job last week against the Skins. 125 yards rushing. And Bobby Douglas back in 1972 had 127. Last time a quarterback has rushed the ball that well, 16 touchdowns, 12 interceptions.
And Gus, he wants to be known as a pocket passer, but it's better to be known as a winner, and he's won the games with his legs. And watch this first play, Gus. We're going to get a chance. I think the Eagles are going to try to welcome Javon Kearse to this turf here at Veterans Stadium. Going trips right. Watch him bring the tight end Chad Lewis in short motion and take a crack shot at Javon Kearse.
First down and 10 from the 25. McNabb on the roll. Fires, and it's caught. Charles Johnson out of bounds. And it's a pickup of 5 yards. Samari Rolle defensively.
Chad Lewis coming to that motion, snapped the ball a little early. He wasn't quite there yet. You see Javon Kearse sees him, does a little Olay move to the outside, gets right in McNabb's throwing lane. McNabb gets rid of the ball quickly.
2nd and 5 from the 30. Stanley puts it in the field, runs over the left side, and is wrapped up. Randall Godfrey, the middle linebacker, with the tackle. Offensively for the Eagles, this offensive line has been together 14 straight games. Thomas, Wilburn, Miller, Mabry, and Runyon. Backs and receivers, Darnell Autry, the starting tailback last year at this time. He was working in Chicago as a bartender. 3rd and 5 from the 30. McNabb over the middle, incomplete. And the Eagles come up empty on their first possession. Chad Lewis, the tight end, the intended receiver.
And he's the leading receiver on this Eagles team. Eagles went with the no huddle, got up to the line of scrimmage quickly, tried to catch the Titans off guard, but they had 2 men on Chad Lewis.
So 38-year-old Sean Landeta in the punt in his 16th season, and Derek Mason now back deep for the Titans at the 25. Landeta from the 15. High spiraling kick. Mason fair caught at the 29-yard line. A 40-yard punt. So Sean Landeta trots off the field. And here comes the Titans offense led by Steve McNair in his 4th season as the starting quarterback in Tennessee.
And I think the thing that stands out to me about Steve McNair this year is he's starting to make plays out of the pocket using his arm. He's finding receivers scrambling, allowing for those defensive backs to lose those receivers in coverage, and that's how he's made some big plays this year.
Like McNair, a great running quarterback. 1st and 10 from the 30-yard line. On play action, McNair rolls out, and he hits his tight end. It's Frank Wycheck. Fumbles the ball, and the Eagles come up with it. The Eagles have it. Tennessee fumbles on their first play of the game. Brandon Whiting, starting for Mike Mamula today, comes up with the fumble recovery.
And Frank Wycheck tries to go back inside, and you see Bobby Taylor get that hand on there When it's wet, when it's cold outside like it is today, it's much harder, tougher to hang on to, a little more slippery. Bobby Taylor making the big play.
First down and 10 from the 37 for the Eagles. Out of the I formation. McNabb with time, steps up, gets the run, gets outside, and to the 26. Chased out of bounds by Randall Godfrey, but he picked up 11. Defensively for the Titans, let's take a quick look. Javon Kearse, 7 sacks at 14.5 last year. Kenny Holmes, Fisk, and Thornton in the middle. The linebackers, Randall Godfrey, the former Cowboy, Robinson, and Favors. And in the secondary, Samari Rolle should be headed to the Pro Bowl. He has 7 interceptions. First and 10 from the 26. Garnett following his blocks, gets inside the 20-yard line, down to the 19, a gain of 7. Lane Bishop with the tackle.
And you see Autry pounding it up inside there with a little New York draw, actually a little drop back, quick hitter. Watch the center, make the move right there. Big Bubba Miller driving his man out, opening up that hole for Autry. Big time block by the center.
Second down 4 from the 20-yard line. Pritchett the lone setback. Johnson in motion, McNabb to throw. Underneath by Johnson. Stops, digs inside, and gets to the 6. Marcus Robertson with the tackle, but he gains 13 yards.
And in the last 4 games, Donovan McNabb's only completed 1 pass to the wide receivers inside the 20. Watch Charles Johnson when he catches this ball, guys. He's going to be starting outside. He realizes, get north and south. I'm going to only get a yard going back out there. He turns his shoulders, gets back inside, gets about 7 more yards.
First down and goal from the 8-yard line for the Eagles. Play action. McNabb pumps. He's got a lane. And he slides down. Donovan McNabb getting to the 7-yard line. And the numbers on McNabb, his best game coming week 5 versus Atlanta when he threw for 300 yards. And he leads the team in rushing.
And already, and you said it just right there, he has a lane. He's had a couple of lanes here early in the game. This Tennessee Titans team can't get too far upfield with their pass rush.
Second down ball from the 7. Autry in motion. McNabb. And gets rid of it. And the Eagles have scored on 23 of their last 25 red zone possessions, coming up with 12 touchdowns and 11 field goals. And Andy Reid, the head coach, calls the plays on the Philly sideline. Brings up third down goal from the 7.
And I mentioned the fact that they had to use the wide receivers down here a lot. They're a big tight end team here in the red zone. Watch Chad Lewis.
Number 89. Flag on the play.
And I think Trey Thomas, the left tackle, is moving.
Prior to the snap, false start, 72, offense, 5 yards, still third down.
Watch 72, left tackle right out here. Just gets a little quick start. Donovan McNabb changed the play. It threw him off. Donovan McNabb was calling an audible, and Trey Thomas, sometimes you're thinking about the audible instead of the snap count.
So it brings up third down and goal from the 12. Brian Mitchell is in the backfield for the Eagles. They line up with 3 wide receivers.
And they ran him out and up with McNabb scrambling to the right yesterday in the practice. It might be a good time to call that.
McNabb underneath is caught at the 5-yard line by Chad Lewis. So the Eagles force the turnover, and they will have to settle for a field goal. David Akers comes in on the season, 24 of 27. This will be Philadelphia 24-yarder. He's second in the NFC in punts. In points. Got it up, and it is good. So the Eagles strike first blood. They take a 3-0 lead. The sandwich of Philadelphia, Jim's Cheesesteaks. You had one of those the other day.
Hey, if you come to Philadelphia and don't eat a cheesesteak, you didn't come to Philadelphia. I had to not eat food for a day and a half so I could have a big one.
Scotch tape that sucker right through your stomach. First down and 10 from the 29 for the Titans. Eddie George opens with a big hole, and George gets up to the 37-yard line, maybe the 38. Breakout years, Wycheck the tight end. Eddie George running, and the Philadelphia native gets it up to the 43. And defensively for the Eagles, they rank 7th in the NFL. 17th against the rush. Whiting, Simon, Thomas, and Hugh Douglas with 13 sacks. The linebackers, Trotter in the middle, Emmons and Gardner. And in the secondary, Vincent and Taylor on the corners, Dawkins and Moore are the safeties. First down and 10 from the 43. Draw play, Eddie George. George running, and he gets inside Philadelphia territory. Moore with the tackle. Nice block, though, by Lorenzo Neal. This is a very important game in the AFC Central. Tennessee in front of Baltimore. Baltimore off this week, and they are watching this game right now. It's being shown in Baltimore.
And Tennessee has to come out with a better overall record, because if they tie with Baltimore right now, Baltimore has the tiebreaker. They're going to have a better conference record. By a fluke of the schedule, they played one more conference game.
An injured player on the field. Let's see, number 43, Damon Moore. We'll take a timeout. 9:02 to go. Back to Philly after this. Back to Philadelphia. First quarter, 8:53 to go. 3-0 Eagles. Second down and 1 from the Philly 48 for the Titans. Draw play, Eddie George picking up more real estate. Gets to the 45. Close to first down. Jeremiah Trotter with the tackle, the middle linebacker. So Eddie George, prior to that run, 3 carries, 23 yards. Titans, they said they wanted to run the ball against this Philadelphia defense.
And they felt like they could pound at him, not only between the tackles, but get Eddie George outside. That's what Jeff Fisher told us. And for the Eagles, the big key to this game is going to be the play of their linebackers, Jeremiah Trotter, Barry Gardner. They're going to have to wrap up and make some plays. That means the defensive front for the Eagles has to keep this adept offensive lineman from the Titans and get into their linebacker level.
First down and 10 from the 45-yard line for the Titans. Out of the offside. Play action, McNair throwing on the run is caught by Lorenzo Neal, who is game tackled at about the line of scrimmage. Troy Vincent, Trotter in on the play. Let's go to New York and Jim Nance.
All right, Gus, and the Miami Dolphins have Fiedler and Lamar Smith back in the lineup. And on the opening drive for the Dolphins, they hook up for a touchdown, and Miami has picked off Rob Johnson in the end zone on the Bills' first series. 7-0 Miami. Let's go back to Gus and Brett.
So Fiedler coming back from that stinger in Miami.
And it's going to be tough for Buffalo down the stretch. Lost a couple of big defensive players, Rodgers and Coward, linebackers last week to injuries. Going to be tough long day for them.
Second and 10 from the 45-yard line. The blitz to Eddie George. And George goes nowhere. Carlos Emmons plugging up the hole. Once again, here's Jim Nance in New York.
Well, Gus and Brett, you saw him early in the season. Pittsburgh went the first 19 quarters of the year without throwing a touchdown pass, and Cordell now has 5 in the last 9 quarters alone. Looking up here with Bobby Shaw. Steelers up early on Oakland. Let's go back to Gus and Brett.
Very nice throw by Cordell.
Isn't that nice to see Cordell having some success down the stretch? He's worked awful hard, taking a lot of abuse, and having success at home where he usually gets booed.
Third and 10 from the 45. They need to get to the 35 for first down. McNair out of the gun. On the rollout. Throws. Knocks away at the Moore. Bobby Taylor
back with that off arm and knock it away. George Seifert, my old head coach, great defensive mind. He used to preach that all the time. Go away with your off arm. You know why? Because you've got a further reach with your off arm. Your fingers can outstretch further, knock that ball down.
Hendrick stands at the 40-yard line. Ryan Mitchell at the 10. End over entry. Mitchell with the Bearcat signal at the 15-yard line, a 30-yard punt. 6:18 to go, first quarter of play. 3-0 Eagles. The Eagles feel about the Titans.
I can't believe that from the pleasant Philadelphia. Hey, guys, check this out. Little R rating. Extreme violence.
First down and 10 from the 15-yard line for McNabb and the Eagles offense. Donovan passing on first down, gets rid of it, caught by Autry, breaks it down the sideline. Autry still running, and Darnell Autry all the way up to the 37-yard line, a gain of 23. What an effort by Darnell Autry.
And that was all effort, and actually going against the defensive lineman, Jason Fix. Watch number 97 come out on the zone blitz. He's got Autry. You see him coming out there. 97, make the tackle. You're the big man. Autry, good moves, bounces, spins, keeps on going downfield. Javon Curse has to get downfield and last to him.
First down and 10 from the 38-yard line. Inside handoff to Autry. And he picks up a couple. Monday on CBS begins with The King of Queens, starring Kevin James and Jerry Stiller, followed by the new comedy hit Yes Dear. Then don't miss Monday's #1 comedy, Everybody. Legendary Tina Turner takes the stage in her last concert tour ever. Tina, one last time live. It's all here Monday on CBS. And Darnell Autry, what an amazing story. As I mentioned, last year at this time, he was working at a Chicago bar called Cubby's as a bartender. Wanted to be an actor. Oliver Stone turned him down for a football movie. Said he didn't look the part. McNabb to the sideline, incomplete. But the guy that always looks the part for CBS is Jim Nantz. Here he is.
Well, thank you. Any given Sunday, as they say, Gus. And on this play right here, 13-yard touchdown run by Mike Anderson. The back goes over 1,000 on the season. That's the third different back over 1,000 in 3 years. And for 7-0 Broncos over the Saints. Let's go back to Gus and Brett.
All right, Jim. Jim always tops me. We think that we have him when we throw it to him, and he always comes up with something clever.
You can't out-segue Jim Nantz.
Third down and 8 from the 40. Here's McNabb to the sideline. Incomplete. Small, the intended receiver. Denard Walker covering, and the Eagles will have to punt it away.
And Gus, one of the big matchups today, former Titan John Runyon versus Javon Curse. Says he's not going to let him get inside. He can't beat him with the strength. He's not a complete player yet. And I don't know if Javon Curse took kindly to that, but thus far, Runyon's been doing a nice job.
Landetta at the 25. Derek Mason back at the 15. Landetta wobbly kick. Mason fair caught at the 18-yard line, a 42-yard punt. 4:56 to go in the first. The Freak, as they call him, on the bench. Larry Bowa, the new manager of the Philadelphia Phillies. He was the spark plug in that 80 World Series championship over Kansas City.
Smooth glove, deep in the hole, to turn the deuce.
My goodness. A football player that likes baseball. First and 10 from the 19. Eddie George breaks a tackle. Eddie George runs up to the 25-yard line. Should have been dropped for a loss, but he gained 6. Whiting with the tackle, and the AFC playoff picture.
And it's looking tight, Gus, as you know, but I really feel like the way that we've got it set up right here, that's going to be the team's end, in my personal opinion. But you can see how important this game is for Tennessee to try to stay atop the Central.
Jeff Fisher telling you yesterday that he doesn't want to go into the playoffs as a wild card team.
He said after finishing 13-3, he doesn't want to finish 12-4 and be a wild card team.
Second and 4 from the 25. They pitch it out. This is Wycheck, and Frank Wycheck gets up to the 30. Troy Vincent with the tackle. the Eagles would love nothing more than to have a bye as they head into the playoffs.
And they look really solid. And, of course, you mentioned that the Giants are playing Washington today. If you're an Eagles fan, you've got to be rooting for the Redskins to beat these Giants. The Giants have the tiebreaker with the Eagles having beaten them twice. That's the first tiebreaker head-to-head. But as you see, Philadelphia actually has a little bit, they have a half-game lead. They have a better schedule down the stretch, but they're really rooting for those Redskins today, because if they could come away with a win and a Redskins win, I think they're going to win the East.
Cleveland and Cincinnati for the Eagles. And McNair over the middle, caught by Mason at the 45-yard line. Moore with the tackle, a 15-yard game. And Mason just having an outstanding breakout season. Comes into this game with 44 catches.
And this is what happens when you have Eddie George as your running back. Look at the play action. See the linebackers suck up to the front of the line. Watch Derek Mason coming back in behind it, finding that hole in the zone. There you go. That's what play action does. When you have an Eddie George, you should have the best play action game in the league.
First down for the Titans at their own 45.
22!
Here comes the blitz. McNair goes down. Steve McNair going down. And that is Hugh Douglas, 14th sack of the season.
And you talk about a guy that's hungry for the playoffs, and it almost looked like he was offside. He got off right at the snap of the ball, right here at the top, coming right around Brad Hopkins. And Hopkins has a cast on his hand. He's got a screw in his thumb. And Hugh Douglas said, hey, I've got all kinds of moves ready for him. And Hugh Douglas is a pass rusher. He's got the speed move outside. He's got the bull rush. He's got the spin move. He's like the Tasmanian devil out there. He's got it all. He's a whirling dervish.
Second down, 16 from the 39. They drop it off to Eddie George. George, nice shake and fake. George still running. And Eddie George gets inside the 45-yard line. Down to the 44. Moore with the tackle once again, but it's a gain of 17.
And Gus, they're going to try to misdirect the Eagles defense and come back to the screen to the left to Eddie George. One of the keys we said at the top, they've got to be able to tackle Eddie George. And Jeremiah Trotter, number 54, watch this. He's got a shot at him, and he just gets olayed. That's one of the terms that we used to use at the 49ers, like a bullfighter waving the cape. Olay. All of a sudden, the guy's not there.
First down from the 44. George over the right side, and Eddie George, huge chunks of yardage, gets to the 35-yard line. Barry Gardner with the tackle. A 9-yard gain. And Eddie used to work at Veterans Stadium. As a matter of fact, he sold hot chocolate here. And he was a Pee-wee sensation growing up in Philly.
Now watch this long stride of the young Pee-wee. Look at that stride. Looks like he's gotten faster over the years. He told us when he sold hot chocolate, he had a big old white Ghostbusters looking outfit. So he paid attention to the game, didn't make a lot of money.
Second down and 1 from the 35. George straight ahead. And Eddie George tackled by Jeremiah Trotter.
And right now, this Titans offense has given the Eagles a whole dose of Eddie George. You've seen him run a couple of screens, a couple of draws. They've run him inside the tackles. They've run him outside the tackles. They told us yesterday, they think that he can just completely control the game anywhere against this defense. And on this drive, it looks like he's been pounding it right down their throat.
8 carries, 44 yards for Eddie. Rodney Thomas in a tailback right now. Play action. McNair scrambling to the sideline, and it's incomplete. Flag on the play, though.
Yeah, they're going to actually get Troy Vincent for holding Derek Mason at the line of scrimmage. Mason was in tight, and Steve McNair was trying to catch him on a corner route, and Troy Vincent was just hanging on.
Steve McNair said that that's one of the positives for this secondary in Philly. They don't have any problems holding you. They'll take the 5-yard holding penalty.
And hey, it's always better than being beat deep. Troy Vincent, one of the better cover guys in this league, he doesn't need to hold. He's just trying to get a jam. And here, right there, you see it. Get a hold of Derek Mason. He won't let him back outside to that corner route. And that was the call.
Holding, 23, defense, 5 yards, automatic, first down.
And that is the end of the first quarter. With the score, Philadelphia 3 and Tennessee nothing. We'll return to Philly right after this message. 3-0. The Eagles lead the Titans. Titans driving, however. They are on the Philadelphia 27-yard line. First down and 10. Eddie George, the single setback. McNair. Underneath, caught by Wycheck. And Wycheck wrapped up at the 21. Dawkins with the tackle. Monday on CBS, legendary superstar Tina Turner takes the stage in her last concert tour ever. Tina one last time live Monday on CBS. Frank Wycheck fumbled on the first offensive play of the game for the Titans, resulting in a field goal for the Eagles. Tennessee driving right now. Eddie George cuts it across the field. Eddie George inside the 15-yard line. And George getting to the 13. Uhura Hamiter tripping him up. And Eddie George has 4 100-yard games on the season.
And let's watch Eddie George start off to the right, cut back in right here, and weak tackling from the Eagles. Too many arm tackles. You see that? He misses here and there. You got to be able to wrap him up and tackle him strong.
And already George with 53 yards rushing. First and 10 from the 13. They give it to the second man through George, and he's chucked down by Trotter. Jeremiah Trotter.
Jeremiah Trotter getting in, pounding through, and the wood chopper going to make the big tackle. Then he's going to go out. He's going to get a little tree chopping action going. And that's going to be a key. They've got to make those tackles when they get their first crack at Eddie George.
From Hooks, Texas, drafted by Ray Rhodes. 11th play of the drive is started at the 19. Second and 10. McNair dumps it off to Wycheck. And Wycheck gets to the 7. Trotter in on the play once again.
And that's one of those places Steve McNair in the past would have broke the pocket and started running a couple years ago. Now he stays in the pocket, feels the check down, hits his tight end Frank Wycheck, gets 5 yards going forward.
And that will make it third down and 4. They need to get to the 3-yard line for a first down. Mason splits to the top of your screen. 2 receivers at the bottom. McNair lines up in the shotgun with Eddie George right next to him. Almost fumbled it. Gets it away. Stuffed it on the goal line by Moore. But a flag on the play. Now they rule it an incomplete pass. But hold everything.
And there was some contact down there, and the ball was in the air. It might have been interference or holding versus Philadelphia.
Holding, 43, defense, half the distance to the goal, automatic, first
I think
down.
they called that on Damon Moore, Gus. Reading lips.
Damon Moore called for the holding penalty. And that brings up first down and goal now for the Titans at the Eagles' 4-yard line.
You're just going to see at the end of the play the near interception right there. Moore, you saw him have his hands on the receiver outside and in the 5-yard check zone.
George put up by Damon Moore. And they told us that with Eddie George running the football, Brent, you are going to see Damon Moore and Brian Dawkins in the box, so 8 or 9 in the box.
Exactly. They're going to play him up tighter. They're going to make Steve McNair try to beat him with his arm. But thus far, Eddie George has been beating him with his legs and breaking tackles. It's great to have 8 guys up in the box, but you got to make the tackle. You can't get blocked. You can't over-pursue. You've got to make something happen.
13th play of the drive. They've had it for over 8 minutes. 2nd and goal from the 5. George over the right side, nothing doing. This time it's Gardner.
And this goal line defense of the Eagles, they have some confidence. They had a great stand last week versus the Redskins and then had a penalty and turned around and did it again for 3 more plays. So they had 6 plays in the goal line area stand inside the 5. Now the ball's back outside. But man, this is a very impressive defense. They've got some great confidence down there inside the 10.
So now it's 3rd and 8. They lose 3 yards on the play. 3rd down, goal from the 8-yard line. Over the middle, pick it up. Trotter once again. And the Eagles turn away the Titans.
The Titans were trying to run a classic running back delay route. He's starting to back out and bringing them back in. And watch Jeremiah Trotter. He gets his hand right on there and gets his hand on the back of Eddie George with his offhand. Didn't really pull the jersey, though. Eddie thought it was pass interference, but that stop was all about Jeremiah Trotter.
Aldo Greco in to attempt a 26-yarder, and that one just inside the upright. He's had his troubles this season, but Del Greco ties the score up at 3. And welcome back to Philadelphia for a complete breakdown of all playoff scenarios, including updates at the conclusion of each game. Click on NFL at cbs.sportsline.com. 1st and 10 from the 24. And this is Brian Mitchell over the right side. And Jerry Brewer, a staff writer for the Philadelphia Inquirer, had an interesting story in the paper this week. The headline read, McNabb eager for less running, more passing. And he talked about how Donovan McNabb does not want to be known as just a runner.
And he really wants to stay in the pocket and not be involved and talk about as just a runner. And so I talked to my old quarterback, Steve Young, last night about Donovan McNabb. I'll tell you about it here in a second.
2nd and 7 from the 27. McNabb to throw. Steps up. Fires. And it is incomplete. He put that ball on the money to Chad Lewis.
And Blaine Bishop was right there to break it up. But what I was saying, I had a chance to talk to Steve Young last night, and when he told me that when he broke into the league and when he came to the 49ers, he said, I didn't know how to play quarterback. And I started learning the West Coast offense, and to buy myself time, I won games with my legs. He said right now, that's where Donovan McNabb is. And he said he thinks he'll develop into a nice pocket passer. He said the next level is you win games with your legs and your arm. And he said that's where Steve McNair is. And he said as you get older and wiser, then you just win games with your arm.
3rd down and 7 from the 27. McNabb underneath. It is caught. This time Lewis holds on to the football. And Lewis, let's see where they spot it because he's all the way up at the 47. Chad Lewis, a gain of 20 yards.
And we saw that last play, Blaine Bishop get his hand in there and break it up. Let's watch Chad Lewis, little route, running a basic cross. Give a guy a little head and shoulders, come across, ball behind him. See him open up his hips. He opens up his hips, stays with the ball, good concentration, and he leads the NFC tight ends this year, and he ought to be going to the Pro Bowl, guys.
1st down and 10 from the 47. Darnell Autry running the football. And Chad Lewis leads tight ends in receptions coming into this game. He came in with 51. Now, what a background. He's been everywhere. 2-year Mormon mission in Taiwan. Walked on at BYU. Undrafted. Waived twice. As a matter of fact, we saw him last year at St. Louis.
And we couldn't believe that they weren't getting the ball to him. Really more of a receiver than blocker, but a great receiver. And if you're a tight end at BYU, you can catch the ball. And actually, Chad was here first go-around with Ray Rhodes. Caught some touchdowns. They got rid of him just like Chris Carter, probably because he only caught touchdowns.
2nd and 6 from the 49. McNabb in trouble, and McNabb sacked by Favors. Greg Favors came screaming into the backfield and drops McNabb for a loss.
And he came right in from Donovan McNabb's lower side, and McNabb was looking to the left and never really saw him. Somebody's got to go ahead and block Favors. One of the linemen's got to come back out and block more back. Got to come back on a double read. You can't give your quarterback up like that. Have a guy get a free shot at him.
Favors 4 sacks on the season, a loss of 8, 3rd and 14 from the 43. They need to get to the 42.5 for a first down. McNabb scrambles, throws, Lewis again, and he gets to midfield, tackled from behind by Samari Roll, a gain of 7, but they'll be short of the first down.
And that was a case where Donovan McNabb didn't scramble out of the pocket and keep running with the ball. He saw a big tight end come open, made the throw, didn't get the first down, but that's a sign of maturity. Because when you break the pocket, wide receivers and tight ends get open because backs are having to come up to defend against you.
Landetta, high spiraling kick is fair caught at the 15. A 35-yard punt. 7:27 to go, second quarter. Game tied at 3. 27 to go in the second quarter. Game tied up at 3 apiece. Gus Johnson along with Brent Jones, and they talked a lot about punching each other in the mouth this week, and right now Eddie George doing all the punching, 12 carries, 48 yards.
And one of the things that this Titan team has to come away with, those touchdowns when they get the red zone. They've struggled the last couple of weeks. It's come down to Al Del Greco, the kicker. He's been inconsistent, missed a couple of kicks. They've lost a couple of games. They want touchdowns when they get down there. No more field goals.
First down and 10 from the 15 for the Titans. Eddie George over the left side. And Hugh Douglas comes up with the tackle. Tonight on 60 Minutes, a police officer who blew his career by blowing the whistle on a dishonest cop. Tonight on 60 Minutes. Second down and 9 yards to go for the Titans at their own 16-yard line. Jacksonville beat Tennessee last week 16-13. And the time of possession in the favor of the Titans, 14 minutes. Quick strike, and Mason turns it upfield. Mason gets to the 26-yard line. Ryan Dawkins drags him down, but it's a gain of 10. And Brent, usually when teams hold on to the football and they win that time of possession battle, they win a lot of games.
As long as they've got that strong defense to back them up. And some people think that's an underrated statistic. But right here, look at this graphic. Look at the time of possession leaders and look at those records. You can't say that's an underrated statistic. Those teams have been making it happen by hogging the ball.
First down at the 27. McNair sprints out. Checks up underneath. Punt. Wycheck at the 35-yard line.
Frank Wycheck very adept at being able to find the hole in the zone over the middle of the field. Steve McNair getting out of the pocket.
Here's Frank Wycheck at Archbishop Ryan High School. Grew up in Philadelphia, played collegiately in Maryland, and he was a running back.
I think he's Eddie George. Look at that. Punching down the sideline.
Wycheck 5 catches, 32 yards. Second down and 1 from the 36. Eddie George. And George looking for a little daylight, gets to the 39-yard line.
For being such a big man, Eddie George really does have some shake to him. A little razzle-dazzle. You saw him get him right up to the line of scrimmage and stop, and a little move left and right and still juke Damon Moore and get another 3 yards. It's impressive to see such a big man be able to have such loose hips. Loose hips is the key, not loose lips.
They sink ship, right? First down and 10 from the 38. McNair with the play fake, goes to the sideline. Mason with the catch at the 44-yard line in front of Dawkins. And Mason picks up 18, and what a year he's having.
He has had a huge year, and let's watch Steve McNair play action. Like I said, this Tennessee Titans team should be running play action all the time. Derek Mason being able to get downfield. Watch the hit Steve McNair takes. Big shot. But being able to get that ball downfield and doing a nice job with the play action fake. And you got an Eddie George. You're going to have linebackers sucking up to go line of scrimmage all day long.
3 catches, 44 yards. Flags on the play. Eddie George is stopped by Trotter at the 44-yard line.
I think Brandon Whiting might have moved for the Eagles just real briefly.
Against the Eagles. And you're very familiar with Andy Reid.
Offside, 90, defense, 5 yards, still first down.
4:04 to go, second quarter of play, 2 field goals. The story in this game, the Eagles and Titans are tied at 3 apiece. Gus Johnson and Brent Jones with you from Veterans Stadium. Beasley Reese on the sideline. First down and 5 from the 39. Eddie George dives forward and gets to the 36.
That's one thing that Eddie George does well. He's always going forward. Keeps those legs churning, keeps the fall forward. You don't see him lose a lot of yards. He's always got those legs churning, always moving forward. This offensive line, he has a lot of holes as well. A lot of places to move forward.
So another long drive for the Titans. This one started on the 15th, 7th play of the drive coming up. Second down and short. They need 2. McNair steps up, goes down the field, incomplete. Chris Sanders, the intended receiver.
Steve McNair put that ball right where he needed to. Great job, play action fake, presence of mind to step up and get by the pass rush and put the ball right on the money.
Did that ball go through his
It
hands?
looked like it went right through his hands. Chris Sanders right there, just a little late. You see him late getting his hands together. There he's up. His hands are too wide apart. You see when he comes together, the ball is already behind him. Just misjudged it.
Third down and 2 from the 36. George over the right side, first down at the 31. And Eddie George now with 59 yards rushing in the first half of play.
And we talk about his offensive line, but Lorenzo Neal has been just blowing people up from this fullback position. Watch right here. He's going to lead inside, get, I think, 52, Barry Gardner. Watch 41 in here. Bang! That's a hole. You just need a split second. And Eddie George is through there, and Lorenzo Neal making a definite run at this Pro Bowl this year. He is really smacking some people around.
First down from the 31. McNair on the bootleg finds Wycheck. He dropped it. And it's incomplete. They blew it incomplete. And it looked like he had possession of that ball.
And it looked like he caught it and was running with it and had possession of it.
Definitely had the ball.
And you know what? He went to tuck it, and it just slid off the back of his jersey. He's got it right there, and he tucks it, and big play.
Eddie George running, flush down, Hollis Thomas with the tackle for a loss.
Boy, the Eagles got a raw deal on that drop.
And that takes us to the 2-minute warning with the score. Philadelphia 3, Tennessee 3. 2 minutes to go in the first half of play. Philadelphia, Tennessee tied up at 3, and here's the controversial play.
And you'll watch, he catches it, moves, puts it on his front side, and then pushes it back to his back hip, slides off of his jersey. That's a catch, and it would have been a touchdown going the other way for the Eagles.
McNair the 20, and he picks up the first down. A 14-yard run. He needed 13.
What an outstanding job of feeling the defense and coming alongside. Gets a big block right outside here from Eddie George, and he stays right in bounds and knows where that first down is. Eddie George made that happen with a big heads-up block after McNair broke the pocket.
12th play of the drive. Started at the 15, first and 10 from the 20. McNair falls down and is covered up at the 25.
And don't blame that on the Philadelphia turf. Usually when that happens, a guard or center is getting their back foot, stepping on your foot. Let's see him pull away.
Benji
there it is,
Olsen,
right there. Trips over Olsen. Benji Olsen getting his foot back there. And that had nothing to do with the Philadelphia turf.
Timeout on the field. 1:47 to go. We're still tied at 3. The first half, Tennessee, Philadelphia tied at 3. Coming up on the NASDAQ.com halftime report, join Jim, Mike, and Randy for all the scores and highlights and the latest NFL news, plus a report from the Colts-Jets game. That's all coming up on the NASDAQ.com halftime report. Tennessee with the football, dodged a bullet when Wycheck, his fumble was ruled a incomplete pass when he dropped the football. 2nd and 15 on the 25. McNair in trouble, and he dumps it. And Steve Douglas has 2 hands on him.
He's in the pocket, and if he's under duress and trying to throw the ball away to avoid a loss of yardage, they usually call that intentional grounding. Let's watch it. Here's the pocket from tight end to the tight end position on the other side, even though there's not one lined up. You're going to see he's in that pocket. He gets it outside, and there's a receiver in range. Watch Hugh Douglas come off the top of your picture. There he comes. Boy, that looks like grounding to me.
And Andy Reid is not happy on the sideline. 3rd and 15. McNair rolls, cocks it, and steps out of bounds at the 24.
Boy, that grounding penalty, Gus, would have been key because it really would have taken him out of field goal range.
Plus a loss of down.
And that's why Andy Reid is still screaming, hopping mad, Big Red. Don't get him fired up.
Al Del Greco, already good from 26 yards. Into attempt a 42-yard field goal. And it's good. Al Del Greco, 2 for 2, and the Titans take a 6-3 lead. So the Titans take a 6-3 lead over the Eagles. Don't forget, coming up at halftime, Jim Nantz, Mike Ditka, and Randy Cross will have scores and highlights, NFL news, and a report on the Colts and Jets. 1:30 to go here in the first half. Hendrick tees it up at the 30. Nate Brown and Brian Mitchell back deep. Brian Mitchell from the 6. Mitchell at the 30. Flag on the play. Brian Mitchell crosses the 35 and gets to the 37. A 33-yard return.
And it's coming back. Gus, number 42, Rashard Cook, was taking a piggyback ride on his guy.
Illegal block in the back. 42. Return team. 10 yards. First down.
Rashard Cook right here, far side of your screen. Can't block the guy in the back. You can't take him for a ride either. And the Eagles have had key penalties the last couple weeks at crucial times. And this 2-minute potential drive is a crucial time. Jeff Fisher told us one of the most impressive things about Donovan McNabb is his ability to move this team in a 2-minute situation with the scrambling and making those throws downfield. He said he didn't want him to give him the ball in this situation.
He's got all three of his timeouts. McNabb to run. And he dumps it off. Small with the catch at the 36. Walker with the tackle, a 22-yard gain. And the Eagles call timeout. 1:12 to go. And Randy with scores and highlights, NFL news, and a Colts Jets report. First and 10 from the 36. McNabb with 1:12 to go. Scrambling, McNabb down the field. Lewis. And Lewis stopped at the 42-yard line of the Titans. And all of a sudden, in 2 plays, he's got 44 yards.
And we've seen him make it happen with his legs and his arms, scrambling out of the pocket and starting to step up right before the line of scrimmage, pull it off, and throwing the ball downfield. That's what we talked about. Steve McNair's really matured in that area. We've seen Donovan McNabb do it 2 plays in a row, and that's when receivers get open, make something happen in that scramble drill.
And they call a timeout. Eagles with 1 remaining, and now Donovan McNabb is doing something that Steve McNair is starting to incorporate into his game, and it's scrambling to get his receivers open as opposed to scrambling to run.
And Steve McNair told us yesterday, he said, when I get out of the pocket, I like to give my receivers a second chance to get open. If they weren't open the first time, I give them a second chance. I stay with them before I take off running.
First down and 10 from the Titans 42 for the Eagles. McNabb to the sideline. What a nice play, Small. Out of bounds at the 30-yard line. And an update on the Giants and the Redskins. 4 seconds remaining in the first half. Giants up 6-0 to Brad DeLuiso field goals. And right now the Eagles are in field goal range.
And they sure have. And Jeff Fisher told us it's just amazing what Donovan McNabb can do for a second-year quarterback with a 2-minute drill. He said time after time, I'd see him continue to do it.
He's covered 54 yards in 3 plays. The slant. Charles Johnson catches it, fumbles it. Now what are they going to say?
And I see one of the referees, number 96, standing back. And if they blew the whistle, it's not reviewable. Down by
And the
contact.
clock is still running.
And they should stop the clock. The ball's back. We're calling it complete, no fumble.
And McNabb spikes the ball with 29 seconds to go. And Charles Johnson is woozy.
And you know, Charles Johnson, to his credit, got up off the ground very woozy. He at least got to the line of scrimmage, so they weren't charged a timeout.
He comes off the field. Todd Pinkston replaces him.
And watch him in here in the inside guy, and he catches what we call a quick looky route. Look right now, takes a big shot right there, and one over the back by Godfrey, and you see Godfrey coming up with his arm, and they said his knees were already down. Boy, there was sure the clock was running, and people were scrambling all around.
Third down and 3 from the 25. McNabb, short strike, and Torrance Small. I don't know if he got it as he dives forward.
And I think Torrance Small had the presence of mind to lean that ball forward. He might have got it, and he came back to that looky route again. If you're not covered, look right now.
The Eagles call timeout, their final timeout, with 22 seconds to go.
And I think they're going to be, Gus, I think they're going to be probably 1.5 foot short. I don't even know if they're going to measure. And if they are short, Gus, and it's 4th down, you have no timeouts, you got to kick the field goal. I think it's a huge risk here playing at home. Go ahead and put the field goal points on the board, tie it up going into half. Don't even think about keeping that offense on the field. And here comes Akers right now.
So the Eagles bring in their field goal kicker, and they took over with 1:23 remaining on the clock at their own 14-yard line. And McNabb marches them 6 plays, covering 63 yards, and Akers will attempt a 40-yarder. 7 from this distance on the season. Got it away, and it is good. The Philadelphia Eagles tie this game up at 6 apiece. Second field goal of the game for David Akers. So Johnson being taken into the locker room. Meanwhile, next Sunday, superstar seniors including Donna Wybrecht and the Mayer brothers join up with some of your favorite TV and entertainment stars at the Merrill Lynch Celebrity Ski Challenge. So the story in the first half, Al Del Greco for the Titans with 2 field goals, a 26-yarder and a 42-yarder. David Akers with 2, a 23 and a 40-yarder. We're tied at 6 apiece.
And guys, how many teams would even embark on a 2-minute drill with back to their own 14-yard line after the penalty? I love Andy Reid's aggressiveness. That's a lot of confidence in your young quarterback, a lot of confidence in your offense. And here's the guy that I think, hands down, should be the coach of the year, Andy Reid. We came in last year, and he had a plan. He was talking about the offseason, what they were going to do, the type of players they were going to bring in, the type of players they were going to sign, and it's gone exactly according to plan.
Akers sends it away. Mason from the 10. Mason to the 28 with 11 seconds to go, a 19-yard return. So if you're Tennessee, do you go for the end zone or do you just take a knee?
You take a knee. 11 seconds. Don't even try it. It's knee time. Going at half, you're tied, you're on the road, you're playing in a tough, hostile environment. You take the tie, you go into halftime. Don't do anything stupid, nothing crazy.
Steve McNair lines up in the shotgun. Don't think they're listening to you, Brent.
Yeah, well.
First down and 10. McNair to the sideline, Eddie George. And he gets out of bounds at the 35 with 5 seconds to go. Eddie George is rushed for 56 yards on 17 carries, and he has 2 catches for 24 yards. Last week against Jacksonville, Eddie George with a 100-yard receiving game.
And one thing receivers don't like right before the end of the half, and now they're going to sit on the ball. You don't like going up and catching that ball. We already know how hard the turf is. You don't want to get injured on the stupid play right before half. Looks like they ended up coming back and listening to your partner.
Yeah, no question. So George trots off the field, and the Titans, Eagles are tied at 6 apiece. So your reaction to the first half?
Well, I think it's played right into Philadelphia's hands. Of course, Tennessee, thinking they can run the ball, got some yards, couldn't get touchdowns in the red zone. Philadelphia very opportunistic, and had a call gone another way or two, it could be up by a touchdown.
Steve McNair, 11 of 17. 100 yards. And here's Beasley Reese on the sideline.
All right, thank you. I'm with Coach Reed. Coach, great football game. Give me a couple of things you'll address here at the half.
Well, it's wild. We've got to eliminate turnovers and take advantage of turnovers when we have an opportunity and keep playing smart football.
All right, Coach. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
All right, Gus, back to you.
All right, Beasley, and that's the end of the first half with the score. Titans 6, Eagles 6. Coming up, it's the NASDAQ halftime report with Jim Nance and company. After this message and a word from your local station. Halftime at the Vet. The score is tied at 6 between the Titans and the Eagles. Moments ago, Beasley Reese spoke with Titans coach Jeff Fisher.
Coach, that's a great first half of football. What'd you tell the guys in the locker room?
Well, you know, we dropped a couple balls. We had a turnover. We're moving the ball well. We're just not cashing it in. We had a chance for a touchdown catch. We've got to do those kind of things the second half. And then, of course, the same thing we've been saying all week. You got to keep Donovan from running the football. He's making plays with his feet. We got to keep him in the pocket and get off the field defensively.
All right, Coach, thank you. Good luck.
And welcome back. Gus Johnson along with Brent Jones. I think that's a good point by Coach Fisher. Donovan McNabb, some magic at the end of the first half, and he is certainly a player.
And he talked about making plays with his feet, and he did obviously use his feet to get out of the pocket, but made the big throws when the defense converged on him. And that's really a key sign of maturity.
So let's take a look at the statistics from the first half of play.
And I think really, obviously, the thing that stands out, time of possession, Tennessee's had the ball more than twice as long as Philadelphia, but they haven't been able to convert it into points. And you saw Beasley interview Jeff Fisher, and what Jeff Fisher, I think, really wanted to say was Chris Chandler should have caught that ball. Steve McNair put it right in his hands, and he was late in getting his hands together. You've got to catch touchdowns and make big plays when the opportunities are presented.
Titans will have the ball to start the second half of play. Akers kicking it away, and back deep is Mason, number 85 at the 10-yard line. Mason backpedaling, catches it in the end zone, and takes a knee. So some individual numbers, and you take a look at the quarterback comparison. McNabb is thrown for 135 yards. George, 56 yards rushing in the first half of play. And Frank Wycheck with 5 catches. Lewis with 4 catches, the 2 tight ends.
Of course, the 2 tight ends being very instrumental. And you see the quarterbacks being very, very efficient. And I think the thing that stands out, Eddie George was having his way in the first quarter and early into the second. But then this Eagle defense started gang tackling, not missing tackles. They did a better job with that toward the end of the half.
First down and 10 for the 20-yard line. Play fake, McNair. Underneath, wide open, Mason. And Mason gets up to the 38-yard line. A gain of 18 yards. Troy Vincent with the tackle. But Derek Mason with yet another catch. And another big gain.
And Mason's just going to line up outside, little go, come in, little confusion. Looks like the Titans receivers were confused. Wait, you go first, no you. Coming into the middle, find the hole in the zone and get upfield. Don't go horizontal, get vertical.
4 catches, 62 yards. First down from the 38. Eddie George, and Eddie George bottles up and taken down by Jeremiah Trotter.
And the wood chopper was right through, knifed right through the line, and he was there. And we talked about at the top of the show what a key it would be, the way that he tackled and the way this Eagles defense would tackle, and he's really turned it on here in the last quarter and a half.
Second down and 10 from the 38. McNair finds George on the draw play, and Eddie George gets up to the 45-yard line. Hugh Douglas with the tackle, but he gains 7 yards, and that'll make it third down and 3. Eddie George putting up some impressive numbers, receiving the ball, 2 catches for 24 yards, and running the ball. Eddie George with 19 carries for 63 yards. Third down, 3 yards to go. Here comes a blitz. McNair gets rid of it, but he is knocked down in the backfield. Brandon White getting to him, and a flag in the secondary. A holding penalty called against, I believe, the Eagles.
And I think it might have been Bobby Taylor. Derek Mason was sure ranting and raving out there, but Gus, more importantly, Steve McNair took a big shot right on his knee.
Holding, 21, defense, 5 yards, automatic, first down.
And he's going to have to come out of the game. He is limping badly on that knee.
Let's watch this holding. Bobby Taylor, Derek Mason, you see right there, just a big tackle, arms right around him. The referees are going to call that.
And McNair on the ground now.
And I think it might have been Hollis Thomas, number 78, coming through right at his knee, right there. Oh, and his knee gets twisted back over. Woof.
Neil O'Donnell is the backup quarterback. And he's warming up on the sideline. Steve McNair trying to walk it off on the sideline. He is noticeably limping. And Neil O'Donnell is in at quarterback right now for the Titans. First down from midfield. He hands it off to Eddie George over the left side. And George tackled from behind by Mike Caldwell. Let's take another look at the hit. Hollis Thomas getting to him slow.
Crawling on the ground and just buckling his knee. You're going to see right there. And I think the thing that you got to be concerned about on that type of hit is the anterior cruciate ligament. Steve McNair walked off the field, but you can walk off the field with an ACL injury. And I'm sure that they're going to tape it up, and he's going to probably try to go. He's as tough as there is in the league at quarterback. It is a 50-50 shot whether he's got some ligament damage, because that was quite a shot to take with a knee.
Second down and one. And the Eagles come up with a big play on defense. Jeremiah Trotter. And Trotter with a nice play.
And boy, the more success he has, the more it's going to be tough for Neil O'Donnell and this Titans team.
And O'Donnell started at quarterback against Pittsburgh on the 24th of September. Was 13 of 27 for 237 with 3 interceptions as they won at 23-20. But he was hurt at the end of that game. He's 6-1 as a starter with the Titans. Third down and 3 from the 43. They need to go to the 40 for a first down. Eddie George. And Eddie George rumbling inside the 30-yard line. A gain of 14 on 3rd and 3.
And that's a great call by Jeff Fisher and his staff. Don't put the pressure on Neil O'Donnell. He's cold. He's coming up the sideline. Go with your strength. That's Eddie George. Look at the inside seal right there. Brad Hopkins sealing off the outside. Eddie George is getting up and getting tough. And that's a big call right there. I think the Eagles were thinking pass the whole way.
And McNair getting his ankles taped right now. First down from the 29-yard line. O'Donnell is caught at the 15 by Mason. And Derek Mason all over the field today.
And what an outstanding year Derek Mason has had for this Titans team. And coming into the season, you're thinking Dyson, you're thinking Thigpen, you're thinking Carl Pickens, but Mason's been the guy, the go-to guy all year. Clutch plays, running the big deep in route right there, getting a little spin on the ball. He's fired up. You see him coming out of the huddle. He says, "Get me the ball. I'm hot. I'm ready to go."
First down and 10 from the 15. Mason 5 catches, 75 yards. Eddie George. And he is stopped at the 5-yard line. Brian Dawkins with the tackle, but that offensive line of the Titans opening up a lot of holes now for George.
Yeah, that right side of the line right there really making something happen. And usually you're talking about Brad Hopkins and Bruce Matthews on the left. Let's go over to the right side. Let's watch Benzie Olsen. Let's watch Big Fred Miller, number 71. There's nobody around to touch Eddie George. You talk about a big hole. He's 8 or 9 yards into the backfield of the Eagles before anybody even touches him.
George closing in on his 5th 100-yard game of the season. 94 yards rushing. Here he is again. And Eddie George takes it down to the 2.
And right now, since Neil O'Donnell has come in, they've kept mostly the ball on the ground. Give him that one pass where he made the play to Mason, but stick with your strength. Get the ball to Eddie George. Get him down. And it looks like we've got another Titan down on the field right now. The right tackle, Big Fred Miller.
Miller also in a lot of pain, and when you watch the Eagles, especially their defense, that game last week against Washington, Redskins were going off the field on a regular basis. It's happening with Tennessee now. City Hall here in Philly as the Titans drive it inside the 5, 10th play of the drive that started at the 20. Second and goal. George cuts it back and is gobbled up. Barry Gardner. Let's go to Beasley Reese on the sideline.
Thanks a lot, Gus. Steve McNair is right behind me trying to work out the soreness. The report is he He has a twisted knee and a twisted ankle. His return is questionable. They retaped the ankle. They did not tape the knee. Back upstairs, Gus.
All right, Beasley. So Eddie George now carrying the Titans on his back. On this drive, 8 carries, 41 yards. Third and goal from the 4. Play action, O'Donnell in the end zone. Broken up. It's Dawkins, the safety, with the breakup.
And that ball just hung up there. Frank Wycheck made a heck of an effort for it, but you're going to see Lorenzo Neal coming at the end of the play with the ball up in the air. Watch him almost get the ball in the deflection. He's standing right there. Oh, right through his hands. Wow, he was right on top of it looking for it. You see Dawkins hit the ball back up, and it just goes right through Neal's hands.
So Del Greco comes in to attempt his 3rd field goal of the game. Already good from 26 and 42. This is a 21-yarder, and it's good. Another long drive, resulting in a field goal for the Titans, and they take the lead, 9-6. Scoring drive without Steve McNair, who has tender knee and ankle, a twisted knee and a twisted ankle, as Beasley Reese reported. Philadelphia takes over at their own 30, first down and 10. McNabb rolls out of the pocket, pumps it, and gets out of bounds. He's chased out of bounds by Blaine Bishop. Donovan McNabb trying to use his legs on that play, and McNabb 3 carries, 15 yards today.
And I'm surprised we haven't seen more planned runs for McNabb yet here today. He's got some quarterback draws in, some rollouts, some bootlegs, and I think we got to see some more of that in the second half. Philadelphia wants to move the ball.
Second down and 7 from the 33. Donovan McNabb steps up in the pocket. There's a nice run as he slides down at the 45.
And Gus, you saw him try to slide down there, but that eagle is painted on the field, and it's like sandpaper. And the field's hard enough, but the painted parts are even worse. Watch him hit the eagle and almost just stand up. Oh, there's nowhere to slide. That's like cement right down there.
And here in Philly, they're talking about building 2 new stadiums, one for the Eagles, and what a heated debate in the city council yesterday. Saw that on TV, and they brought some people down from Boston to try to tell the people here in Philly how to conduct their business, and the people in Philly weren't having it. Underneath, caught. This is small at the 42, a gain of 13 yards.
Now, actually, I thought that time Donovan McNabb had some room in the middle of the run, and you see him changing it up. He stayed in the pocket, and he gave his receivers a second chance. Comes back to Torrance Small, coming across, getting open. Nice job of mixing it up. So he has told us he wants to be considered a pocket passer. He can do both, and as long as you can do both, keep doing them, Donovan.
First down 10 from the 42. Draw play. Autry stood up after picking up maybe a yard. Randall Godfrey, the middle linebacker, nose for the football, in on the play. Steve McNair on the sideline playing catch, trying to get back into it, and now limping off the field is Torrance Small, number 80 for the Eagles. What a physical game.
And this is a physical game. You said during the break, hey, the Titans remind me of an NFC East type of team. And I said, the NFC East of old. Actually, Philadelphia reminds me of an AFC Central type of team nowadays.
I see. Second and 9 from the 41. Is wrapped up. Kenny Holmes, 7th sack of the year, second one of the day for the Titans.
And Kenny Holmes has been getting a lot of pressure this year, going for the sack lead with Javon Curse on his own team. Just keeping working it, keep staying leveraged on the outside. He dips his shoulder, gets underneath Trey Thomas coming around, and you see him drop that big claw on Donovan McNabb.
Kenny Holmes out of Miami.
Really did a great job there with leverage, staying low. If you stay low defensive man, you're going to get movement, you're going to get drive.
Third down, 15 from the 47. McNabb in trouble. McNabb sacked once again, this time at the 44. Joe Salavea.
And that time there was nowhere to run for Donovan McNabb. Little stunt coming through. Randall Godfrey coming in. Watch 56. Salavea right in front of Godfrey. Watch the pressure right there. Salavea going left. Godfrey coming right. The dam is breaking right there. At that point, there's all kinds of Titans around Donovan McNabb. Nowhere to run.
36 sacks given up by the offensive line this year for the Eagles. Landetta angles it towards the sideline. Mason at the 60 sideline and out of bounds. A lot of hard hitting going on that Tennessee sideline. 4:47 to go, third quarter of play. Neil O'Donnell heading back into the game for Steve McNair. In the NFL, Steve McNair back in the game. His ankle is double taped. He also sprained his knee, and the knee is, according to Beasley Reese, is not taped. And another look at the injury. Hollis Thomas getting to him low. First down and 10 from the 45. Draw play, Eddie George. And George over the 25 up to the 27-yard line. Jeremiah Trotter with the tackle. Steve McNair and Donovan McNabb, one of 9 African-American quarterbacks starting in the NFL. And take a look at the numbers on the day.
Very efficient. Haven't thrown the ball into double coverage. Got some rushing yards. Playing solid game. Steve McNair's had a touchdown drop, though.
Second down and 6. McNair over the middle, caught at midfield. And this one caught by Yancey Thigpen, a gain of 22 yards, only his 9th catch of the season.
And I know the Titans are encouraged to have Yancey Thigpen back in the lineup and making some catches, running the deep over route. You see him come inside, stay flat across the middle. Steve McNair putting the ball right in between the numbers, and McNair has been very accurate today. And Yancey Thigpen thought at the beginning of the season going to have a huge year for this Titans team, but been banged up and injured, along with Carl Pickens coming over from the Bengals.
He's lined up on the near side. This is Eddie George. Eddie George taken down by Hollis Thomas, the 5th-year man out of Northern Illinois.
And Steve McNair still looks like he's limping around, and Gus, when they tape on the outside of the shoe, the players call it a spat jump. And what it does is it really solidifies your ankle, and even if it's painful, it still hurts, but you feel like you've got some solidness to it, like it's not going to give way. And don't ask me what SPAT stands for. I couldn't come up with anything. Stinking a lot of tape or something, I don't know.
Second and 12. Right check the motion man. Eagles showing quick. No flag on the play, and it's incomplete. They tried to set up the middle screen, and McNair taking a hit and getting up slowly.
Corey Simon getting a lot of pressure, 8.5 sacks this year. The rookie getting pressure inside, and McNair not as mobile. And you see Simon coming right after him, taking a shot. He's getting another shot at the knee and ankle, just what he didn't need.
Simon reminds a lot of people here in Philly of Jerome Brown, the former defensive lineman who was killed in 1992 in a car accident. Third down and 12 from the 49. Titans are 3 of 7 on third down conversions, and McNair calls a timeout. So with 2:42 to go in the third quarter, 9-6, 7-0. The Titans have called for football here in the second half of play. Up 9-6. Look at the time of possession and look at the plays compared to the Eagles.
And you can't score if you don't have the ball. That's been the Eagles' problem almost the whole game. They haven't been able to get any continuity on offense.
Third and 12. McNair down the sideline. Incomplete. Great looking play by Troy Vincent as he knocked the ball
just punched right through his arms, knocked it out.
Hendrick standing at the 34. Brian Mitchell at the 15. Only the second punt of the game for Hendrick. And Mitchell allows it to go over his head, and it takes a Tennessee bounce, and it's down inside the 5. And for a second, it looked as if a Philadelphia Eagle touched the ball.
And you can go ahead and do that, Gus. Once Tennessee touches the ball, it's a free play for the Philadelphia Eagles. They can pick it up, you can fumble it. It's what they call an illegal touch. The ball will be maintained by Philadelphia. And once it's touched first, and I don't know why they call it an illegal touch, they just do. Once it's touched, it's a freebie. Philadelphia, you can pick it up and run with it. And you can see, even if you fumble, you'll get the ball back. It doesn't matter. You can see the linebacker, Trotter, or actually Mike Caldwell, try to pick it up and take a shot running with it. Because even if you fumble, like I said, you'll get the ball back. So it's a freebie, but it's something that gives coaches heart palpitations.
So Hendrick buries the Eagles deep. Philly starts 1st and 10 from their own 4. Johnson in motion. McNabb, the pass on 1st down. Now he starts to run with it. Gets outside, a nice block, and slides down at the 10-yard line. Join host Jim Nance and honorees Tiger Woods, Kurt Warner, Venus Williams, and more for the Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year Awards. It's a star-studded primetime special, also featuring musical guests Mark Anthony and Leanne Rimes. That's coming up on December 14th, right here on CBS. 2nd down and 5 from the 9 for the Eagles. Trailing by 3. McNabb out of the backfield as Cecil Martin picks up the 1st down and runs over some people in the process.
And he's still standing.
Denard Walker got his bell rung, and he's getting up slowly.
And that was a sweet little grab by the big fullback. Down below his knees, making the grab. Off a little play action, could run right through the blocker, fake like you're blocking, go right around Kenny Holmes, catch the ball down below, look at that, below his knees. Here comes Marcus Robertson, get out of my way. Denard Walker, bang, sit down. And here's Big John Runny and Javon Kearse, and you see Kearse, and he is not getting upfield as much right now today, but that is by design. Jeff Fisher told us he's got to keep his rush lanes. I don't want you getting pushed by the quarterback because that opens it up for McNabb. And Denard Walker going off the field, he got whacked by Cecil Martin.
Gabe McCullough is number 38. He will replace Denard Walker at cornerback. George McCullough, excuse me.
And that was a shot. Denard Walker got up and he didn't know where he was until he looked at the terrible turf and he realized he must be in Philadelphia.
1st down and 10 from the 17. Making the reception. All hands, a gain of 8 yards.
Donovan McNabb making the Omaha audible. That's a square out, a 5-yard square out in the West Coast offense. You got to be careful because when you play against teams, they start to know what these audibles are. He delivered that ball high. Fortunately, it was a nice grab by Small going behind him. But Blaine Bishop had a beat on that, and it was lucky that it was over his head because if he would have made that grab, there was nobody keeping him from walking in the end zone.
Small has 5 catches for 55 yards. 2nd and 2. Stanley Pritchett. Looks like he has been dropped for a loss. They have lost a yard. Javon Kearse with the tackle. 20 seconds to go here in the 3rd quarter.
And that's a big stop, Gus. The 2nd and 2. You think you can pick up the 1st down or get close, and then you lose a yard and a half, and now you're looking at a big 3rd and 4, and that makes it a tough situation right here before the quarter.
The Eagles will let the clock run out, and that's the way we'll start it in the 4th. That's the end of the 3rd, and the score 9-6. We'll return to Philly after this word from your local station. and 4 for the Eagles. From their own 23-yard line, they're 1 of 7 on third down conversions today. Charles Johnson in motion. Donovan McNabb on the straight drop. Wants to run and goes nowhere. The Titans have done a great job containing Donovan McNabb, and that's what Jeff Fisher told us they wanted to do.
And watch the lanes right here for the defense for the Titans. Staying in your lanes, guys, staying in your rush lanes. You gotta not get over past the quarterback. Stay right there. You see a spy? You see Javon Curse right there. He's spying Donovan McNabb. He's not rushing. He's staying in there watching for him.
Landeta gets it away. Mason on the 35. Reverses. Gets outside. Down the sideline, and Mason steps out of bounds at the 46. A 46-yard punt. 11-yard return. On a cold and chilly day here in Philadelphia, the Titans lead it 9-6. Gus Johnson and Brent Jones, and I think Tennessee has done a good job, A, keeping the ball away from the Philadelphia offense, and B, when Philadelphia is on the field, they've bottled up Donovan McNabb.
But they've done a bad job, C, scoring touchdowns, and that's
right.
why they've lost these last couple of games. They get in the red zone, they end up settling for field goals. Tennessee is a team that is much better than it's played because they haven't had success scoring touchdowns in the red zone, and it's still today. Teams battle it out, and it comes down to the last minute or two with a field goal, one way or another.
This ball caught by Chris Sanders, and Sanders gets inside Philadelphia territory.
And guess one of the other things, you got to give credit to Jim Johnson from Philadelphia. The defensive coordinator is doing a great job.
Friday on CBS, when an airline passenger ends up dead, investigators have to solve the mystery before their crime scene flies away. Check out an all-new CSI crime scene investigation Friday on CBS. Second down and 2 from the 46. Eddie George over 100 yards now. And Jim Johnson's offensive coordinator for the Eagles, and he's a tough kind of grizzly, no-nonsense guy.
And Andy Reid told us a great story. When he was an assistant at Green Bay, they played against Indianapolis. Jim Johnson was the coordinator there. He said, I love the way this guy plays defense. If I'm ever a head coach someday, I'm going after him. Got a chance to know him at a Pro Bowl one year. Said he's a super guy, very intense. There's his defensive coordinator.
First down for the Titans. Eddie George again, and Eddie George gains 2 yards. Tackled by Ora Hammer. And Eddie George now 28 carries, and he has 102 yards, and the Titans are 22-5 when Eddie runs for 100 plus in a game.
Well, that's quite a record, but still, that really translates into moving the ball up and down the field, but it's got to come into touchdowns. 6 points in the red zone. I don't know how many more times I can say it, but I think if you're Tennessee, as good as the kicker is Alvaro Greco is, you're tired of seeing him on the field.
Second down and 10. Play fake to the sideline, and it's caught by Lorenzo Neal. He spins and gets to the 38-yard line.
And here's a guy, Lorenzo Neal, that along with Howard Griffin from the Broncos had the best group of fullbacks in the National Football League, both playing here in the AFC. And Lorenzo Neal can catch the ball, he can deliver a blow, he can get all over people. He's really been instrumental in the success of Eddie George. You always hear about the offensive line, but Lorenzo Neal's getting it done as well.
And look at that time of possession, 31-16. Third and 6 from the 39. They need to go to the 33.5. McNair to George, and a nice open field tackle by Jeremiah Trotter. And they're talking about Trotter maybe heading towards his first Pro Bowl. Having an outstanding day.
And he is making plays happen all over the field. Been very solid with his tackling. Watch him. He feels Eddie George coming out of the backfield right here. One-on-one. Make that tackle. Wrap up. Hang on to a leg, an ankle. Don't let go.
Hendrick at the 45. Ryan Mitchell back at the 10, and they almost got to it. Whiting. Ryan Mitchell lets it go. It's a free ball. Loose
fumbled punt, or the ball bouncing back to Brian Mitchell, almost resulted in a safety for the Titans. Watch right here. There's the ball. If Brian Dawkins recovers the ball right there, it'd be a safety. The ball hits his knee, bounces out. There's the ball right now, right there. His knee's down, ball's on about the 1 foot line, Gus. Great call by the officials right on top of it. Almost a safety, though.
Dawkins at the right place at the right time. Ball is spotted. There you see our nice picture, brought to you by our director, Steve Milton. Great camera work there as well. Short of the 1 yard line. Andy Reid's team will have to play with a long field once again.
When Andy was in Green Bay, Brett Favre, they used to love going play action deep in their end zone and throw it deep. I don't know if they're going to do it right here with Donovan McNabb.
Eagles like to throw on first down, that's for sure. McNabb, play action, roll, and he'll get his own running room. He gets some room for the Eagles out of bounds at about the 5 yard line. Up 2nd down and 5 from the 6. Next Saturday, join CBS Sports for the Solomon Smith Barney College Football Player of the Year show, followed by a big-time NCAA doubleheader. First, Eddie Griffin and the Seton Hall Pirates battle the Fighting Illini, then the Arizona Wildcats match up against Jim Calhoun's UConn Huskies. 2nd and 5 from the 6, incomplete. Intended for the tight end, Chad Lewis. Broken up by Marcus Robertson.
Marcus Robertson doing a good job of charging in. Some free space right there. Chad Lewis running that looky round. McNabb looking for him. And Robertson arrived right when that ball did.
Some scores. Denver pounding New Orleans on the road today.
How about Carolina beating St. Louis with Kurt Warner back? 4 interceptions for Kurt. That's what happens when you're out, miss 4 or 5 games. It's tough to get right back in the swing of things.
3rd down and 5. Goes up top, gets incomplete. No flag on the play, intended for Torrance Small. And the Eagles will have to punt it away.
They're screaming at Denard Walker, number 25. He's got his hands on Small right there before that ball lands. It's pass interference.
And Mike Bartram, the snapper, is out with a concussion. So Chad Lewis is the backup. He's their starting tight end. Snapping and a nice snap. And Dedek gets it away. End over end kick. And it takes the Philadelphia bounce. And gets inside Tennessee territory. A 46-yard punt. So Chad Lewis can catch it and snap it also.
All right, here's my pick for the NFC Pro Bowl starting tight end, having to come in and snap the ball. Snapping's no fun. Oh, man. Talk about taking one for the team.
First down is in from the 49. Here's Eddie George over the right side, nowhere to go. And what did Andy Reid say? That Chad Lewis is a tight end. Brent, he's just like you. He reminds him of you, only he's just a little faster, right?
No, that's not exactly what he said.
What did he say?
He said Chad Lewis actually reminds me of you, only he's an athlete. You're trying to mix up Andy's words.
No, actually, he said that Brent Jones was a little quicker. 2nd down and 11 from the 48. The 49-yard line. Paul Grasmanis, a 3-yard pickup for the Titans.
and tried to hold him up. And actually, in holding up, might have actually twisted his knee. Hugh going easy on him. You see him getting ready to take him down and then holds him up. Might have twisted that knee even more. It's probably better just to hit him and let him hit the ground.
So the Candyman, as he is called, makes a nice play.
He's got a bunch of candy in this big old bucket by his locker. He said guys were leaving their wrappers all over, so he took it away for a week. Teaching him some responsibility.
Mitchell barely gets that one away. Mitchell catches it at the 15, plays it safe on that one. 33-yard punt. 8:49 to go, and we still have a 3-point game. Welcome back. Donovan McNabb's mom, Wilma, celebrating in the stands. Maybe she knows something good is about to happen for her young man. First and 10 from the 17. McNabb in trouble. Breaks the pocket. Scrambles. Steps up. And goes down once again. 5th sack of the day for the Titans. This time it's Kenny Holmes, his second.
And we've talked about the Titans being able to keep their rushing lanes. They've done a very good job of disciplined rush. You see right here, McNabb running around. There's no open running lanes to run into. They're spying him some of the time. We saw Javon Curse a couple series ago staying there spying him. They're changing their coverage, zone, man, not getting too far on field in those rush lanes.
Loses 8, second and 18. Richard. Richard gets to the 10-yard line. Man's not happy with the play call. So that brings up 3rd down and 17 from the 10, and they need to get to the 27 for a first down.
They're going to need to run a deep crossing route. They got a slot here at the bottom of the screen. Have one of those receivers come across about 15 to 17. Give Donovan McNabb some time.
McNabb steps up, looks, sprint, and dumps it out of bounds. 7:43 to go. Eagles will have to punt once again. Everybody covered on this play.
And you see, let's watch from the all-22 shot. Go back, receivers are covered. Now look at the lanes. Watch the Titans. Stay in their lanes, stay disciplined. There's nowhere to run. You see them got this wall right here. They've got the wall right there around Donovan McNabb, doing a great job of discipline in their pass rush lanes.
Sean Landetta punts it away. Mason with the fair catch at midfield, a 40-yard punt. Steve McNair ready to come back into the game. Meanwhile, tonight on 60 Minutes, the police officer who blew his career by blowing the whistle on dishonest cops. 60 Minutes tonight, followed by an all-new episode of Touched by an Angel. Then Scott Bakula and Eva Marie Saint star in the CBS Sunday movie, Papa's Angels. It's all here. Don't miss it tonight on CBS. Great starting field position for the Titans at midfield. Play action. McNair all kinds of time to throw. Underneath, Wycheck with the catch at the 30, and he is wrestled down at the 27. Damon Moore and Carlos Emmons with the stop. A gain of 23 yards.
And a lot of the focus on Chris Sanders. Watch Wycheck here coming out here running. Focus outside on Sanders. Once we have the play action, watch what he does. He takes the defense away. Right now, those two guys are out watching Sanders. There's Frank Wycheck, wide open, going to the corner route.
Wycheck, 6 catches, 54 yards. First down from the 28. Eddie George, hard running over the right side. Eddie George over 100 yards already. Barry Gardner, Jeremiah Trotter with the tackle. And look at the scores. Miami pounding Buffalo on the road. Pittsburgh coming back against Oakland. Cordell Stewart injured in that game. Denver all over New Orleans. And St. Louis losing to Carolina in the return. return of Kurt Warner. Second and 7 from the 25. Draw play, George, tackled from behind by Hugh Douglas.
And let's watch Hugh Douglas out here making some big-time pressure coming through right now. Got to get in there. Somebody's got to block. He's going to get in there. Twisting Eddie George going back over his knees. That had to not feel very good.
Meanwhile, the Giants are leading Washington 9-0 in the fourth. Third down and 8. Jeff George in at quarterback from the 26. Here comes the safety blitz. Knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Brian Dawkins. And Dawkins with a little shimmy shake after making the play.
And he's coming in on the safety blitz, and I actually think he's the one that knocks the ball down. Let's watch Dawkins. Dawkins coming in from the left side. Here comes the pressure. Gets up, bang, knocks it down right now. Big third down play.
And Eddie George a little shaky as he comes to the sideline. So Del Greco in will attempt a 44-yarder. He's 3 for 3. This will be his longest of the day. Right down Main Street. Al Del Greco, 4 for 4. He's hit from 22, 26, 42, and now 44. And the Titans take a 22-6 lead. Now let's check in with Jim Nantz in New York.
All right, Gus, if you head west on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, the story is Cordell Stewart. The slash is back in the Steeler offense. Look at this effort to the end zone. Pittsburgh leads midway fourth quarter, 21-20. Let's go back to Gus and Brent.
And over here, coming up next, it's Indianapolis at the New York Jets. Peyton Manning versus Vinny Testaverde in the second game of our doubleheader. Andy Reid pacing on the sideline. Titans take a 12-6 lead.
And the way this Eagle team has played today, especially the defense, bend but don't break. Keep yourself in the game. Andy Reid's got to be happy. Going over that playlist right now, we need a touchdown. And even though Tennessee's controlled the plays, controlled the time of possession, really dominated, they're still only 6 points ahead. A touchdown, and the Eagles are right back on top. And that's exactly what Andy Reid is looking at right now. What plays can I go to? I think the bootleg. I think you move Donovan McNabb out. Tennessee's done a great job of forming that pocket. They've done a nice job of spying him. Get him out of the pocket. He's been setting up deep. Move the pocket left, move it right. Bring some crossers across the field. Get Chad Lewis back involved. We saw when they moved the ball in the first half.
But
Chad Lewis was in the mix.
Special teams also very big for the Eagles this year. They've won a number of games with their special teams. Nate Brown and Mitchell back deep. Mitchell starts at the 5-yard line. Ryan Mitchell trying to get over the 20, and he does, and gets out of bounds at the 23. An 18-yard return. So the Titans, road warriors. They have the best road record since 95 at 26-20.
Well, even when you look across that, the thing that stands out to me, there's not very many dominant teams at all on the road. Only 3 teams with records above 500. You saw Green Bay, the 4th team, at 22-23. And so that's very impressive to have a winning record on the road here the last 5 years.
Donovan McNabb starts first and 10 from the 23. Autry in the backfield. McNabb to throw, swings it out, and it's thrown behind Autry. And it's incomplete.
And they're calling it incomplete. Initially, I thought that could have been a lateral. It was awful close to being behind Autry.
McNabb coming into today, he's thrown a touchdown pass in 10 straight games.
And there's his mom, the vice president of the NFL Players Mothers Association. Does a great job with charity. And Jerome Bettis' mom is the president. You think that's a couple of Russian mothers? They can make some things happen.
Second down and 10 from the 23. McNabb sprints out. Dumps it off. Small, the
Terrence Small was surprised by the fact that Donovan McNabb threw the ball. You're standing there on the sidelines. You got to wait and be patient till the play's dead. You know, it might not seem like that big of a deal, but a 4 or 5 yard gain, McNabb right up to the sideline, just all of a sudden, dink, he's standing right there. And it didn't matter, even if he did catch it, he was already stepping out of bounds. He would only had 1 foot in.
McNabb has missed his last 5, so that makes it 3rd and 10 from the 23. They need to go to the 33 for a first down. 3-receiver package. McNabb sets up. Nobody to throw to. Wide open. It's Kingston with the catch. Out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Unbelievable. How he gets so wide open.
Just the Tennessee Titans only rushed 3. They grabbed 8 men. He comes up. Walker lets him go outside that zone coverage. He actually looked like he stepped out of bounds, and the referee didn't see it. I want to replay that back. I want to know if he came from out of bounds.
It's a 45-yard gain.
Well, he got pushed out close to the sideline, and usually when a DB lets you go like that, he thinks you're out of bounds. That was awful close.
And now, a timeout has been called. They may review this one. The Titans may challenge it.
Well, they ought to challenge it because I don't think Denard Walker, I think he stepped out of bounds. He came from out of bounds. You cannot come out from out of bounds and come back in and catch the ball. That is an illegal catch.
Tennessee has challenged the ruling on the field that it was a completed catch.
And that's exactly what they're challenging. And you're going to watch Pickett come over here, get pushed wide. There he is. This step right there, that looked like it was out of bounds. That one definitely looks like it's out of bounds. And it's tough to tell from the angle. Remember, the review. Wow. I'd be surprised, guys, and it's tough to tell. I don't know if it's definitive. You can't see from the angle that his foot actually touched white. And to overturn the call on the field, it has to be indisputable. We know we've talked about this all year. We met with Jerry Seaman this offseason, but it appears to me that he would be out of bounds. But it's got to be indisputable, and I don't know if you can see his foot touch the line. Let's get the all-22 shot. Let's see from this one angle. We got something. We got an Eagle guy blocking the line right down there. You can't tell. Boy, that is a tough shot. I'm shocked that that foot right there and that foot right there are not out of bounds.
But you can't tell.
You can't tell for sure because you can't see the foot on the white. You can just see the angle of his foot.
And take a look at replay this season.
And that's right now is about the time where I don't want to be a referee. But Gus, unless you can say for sure that sure looks like he's out to me. And it looks like a couple steps are out.
Now remember, the officials see the same plays that we see and that you are seeing right now. So it's awfully hard to tell.
That is more than tough to tell.
Walt Coleman, the referee, taking his time. And Coleman has 90 seconds once the screen is turned on.
And you saw Denard Walker drop coverage, and that's what they're playing a zone. And the safety got lost over the top, but Walker just let him go at this point, thinking probably that he was out of bounds. And that's why all of a sudden Pinkston shows up 40 yards downfield with nobody around.
Take another look.
That's got to be out, Gus. I can't say that.
Looks like it's out there.
There's 2 steps that look out to me. But I can't be sure because we don't have the blimp shot looking straight down on the sideline. But remember, it's got to be absolute for them to overturn the call on the field. You're allowed to chuck 5 yards and push the guy out. If he goes out of bounds, it's tough to tell. And right there, now that one didn't necessarily look like he was out of bounds.
So if this is reversed, it'll be 4th down at the 23 for the Eagles. Here comes Walt Coleman. Big decision.
Gus, I agree with everything that Walt Coleman said except for one thing. He said the receiver did not step out of bounds. I thought it was indefinitive. I thought you could not tell. I don't know if you can tell. There's one thing for sure. It's to overrule the call on the field. It's got to be definitive.
So the rookie out of Southern Mississippi, Pinkston, with the biggest offensive play of the game so far for the Eagles, and he puts them in good shape at the Tennessee 32-yard line. And Jeff Fisher still talking about that play. Bad angles.
And you've got to stick with the rules the way they're written, and Walt Coleman and his crew made the exact correct call because it wasn't definitive, and we couldn't tell by all the replays, and so the call on the field has to stand. That's the way to do it.
Titans got a couple of breaks early. The Eagles finally catch one. Here's McNabb throwing underneath. Darnell on through with the catch. Pushed backwards. Remember, Frank Wycheck fumbling the ball, and they ruled it an incomplete pass. And it could have been a touchdown for the Eagles defense. Meanwhile, the Redskins have scored 9-7 now. Jeff George in at quarterback. Brad Johnson started that game. 2nd down and 3 from the 25.
This is a good time for some play action. Move the quarterback.
McNabb scrambling, and this one at the feet of Torrance Small. He wants a call. He wanted a flag, but he will not get it, and that'll bring up 3rd down.
And that was the time to call play action on 2nd and 3. You still can come back on 3rd with either or, pass or run. And it sure did look like Torrance Small got pushed or he stumbled. It sure looked like there was a hand on him.
And with 4:03 to go, Brent, is this 4-down territory for the Eagles?
Well, their defense has been decent, except they've bent a lot. Tennessee can keep that whole ball and never give it back, so I think it might be 4-down territory, Gus.
3rd down and 3. McNabb to the sideline. Nice catch. Nate Brown out of bounds. 1st down at the Tennessee 20, a gain of 5. And that's the West Coast offense.
Just running Omaha, Gus. That's what it's called. 5-yard square out. Watch Nate Brown come up. Roy knows what the 1st down is. McNabb puts the ball right on the money. Nate Brown going up, making the grab, keeping the feet in.
Mom looks determined up in the box.
That's right. She's got her game face on. Not too many smiles. Mom's focused. She knows she doesn't want a field goal. She wants a touchdown.
1st down and 10 from the Tennessee 20. McNabb.
That's a good timeout, Gus. And ordinarily, you don't want to burn a timeout. You've got a young team, a very excitable position down inside the 2. You want to bring it together, get together on the sideline with your players. There you see Chad Lewis, Donovan McNabb. Bring it all down. Calm your quarterback down. Calm your line down. Let them think about their assignments. Hey, what calls do we want to get in? Very important. Don't want to lose yardage. Don't want to throw an easy interception. Come down. Say, let's just relax. Take our time. Call solid plays. Let's get the touchdown.
Philadelphia with 2 timeouts remaining. Tennessee with 1. Eagles with 1st down and goal at the Tennessee 2. 8th play of the drive that started at the 23. The big play, McNabb to Pinkston for 45 yards.
Well, it'd be a great time for a little play-action fake naked bootleg with Donovan McNabb. I think Tennessee is thinking run right here. That'd be a great time to turn your
First and goal, goal and two. And the Titans will punt it away. Should they go for it?
Well, Gus, I'm telling you right now, they feel like their defense can stop this Eagle offense, and they've done it for the most part today. So they're going to try and play field position. They've only got one timeout. We've got the 2-minute warning. Kick it away, try to play field position. Hope your defense holds and get that ball back.
Hendrick at the 16, Mitchell at the 25. Wobbly end over end kick. Mitchell from the 22 tries to get outside. And Brian Mitchell, the former Redskin, gets to the 28-yard line, a 47-yard punt and a 5-yard return. Don't forget, we've got more action for you on CBS Sports. You will see either Indianapolis at the Jets or Cleveland at Jacksonville. So Donovan McNabb walks back onto the field. McNabb on the day, 18 of 30, 239, no touchdowns, no interceptions. He's rushed 7 times for 39 yards and a touchdown, his 6th rushing touchdown of the year.
And Gus, 1 first down right here puts Tennessee in a lot of trouble. 2 first downs, and it's all over.
First down and 10. Darnell Autry over the right side. And he gets to the 30. And the Titans call their final timeout. So they do have the 2-minute warning. 2:23 to go. And the Titans, if they lose this game, they, in a way, have themselves to blame because they've had a number of opportunities inside the red zone, and it's resulted in field goals.
And Gus, they've had a lot of trouble the last couple of weeks converting in the red zone, converting touchdowns. They've come away with a lot of field goals, a lot of close games down at the end. Al Del Greco's missed a couple of field goals, cost them a couple of games.
And this is an important game. The Ravens are watching in Baltimore.
And Gus,
The Ravens are idle, and they are a half game behind the Titans.
And if they end up tying at the end of the year, Baltimore's got the tiebreaker, Gus, because of fluke of the schedule. They play one more conference game. They'll have a half a game lead within the conference, and Baltimore will win the division.
Tennessee's remaining schedule should be 3 gimmies. Second down 9 from the 30, out of the eye. Autry the deep man. And Autry gained a yard. So the Eagles will let this one run down to the 2-minute warning. Andy Reid and the Eagles hanging around all afternoon, waiting for a big play, and McNabb hooked up with Pinkston, and the Ravens fans are here, and guess who they're rooting for today? Birds of a feather. Huge play coming up. 3rd down and 9 for the Eagles as you look at the Tennessee offense, hoping for another chance to get onto the field.
You got to stick with the run, Gus. You don't want to throw the ball, stop the clock on an incomplete. I'd do Donovan McNabb to the wide side of the field. His left on a little naked bootleg. Fake the run up inside. Let him keep the ball.
3rd and 9. McNabb in the pocket underneath. It is incomplete. So the Titans will get it back.
You see, that just cost him 30, 40 seconds right there. If you run the ball, you let him run around the corner, that clock keeps running. Now the clock is stopped. Titans get the ball back. They'll stop again on change of possession. You want to give them less time. They have no timeouts.
So pressure on the center. Chad Lewis in for Mike Bartram. Snapping the ball. Landeta at the 15. Another nice snap. Landeta gets it away. Low spiraling kick. Mason back to the 27. Mason gets up to the 35-yard line. A 43-yard punt and a 9-yard return. Tennessee.
Brad Hopkins, left tackle, I think, on the left side, 72, is moving early.
Prior to the snap, ball start, 72, offense, 5 yards, still first down.
A lot of fan noise late in the game right here. Watch, he's going to move, just come out of his stance real quick right there. That's tough. This Eagle fan base is going crazy.
Meanwhile, the Redskins just missed the field goal. There's under a minute left in the game. Giants trying to run off the clock. First and 15. McNair throws. Mason with the catch at the 45, and he goes backwards and does not pick up the first down. Plus, he stays in bounds.
Boy, if you're going to not get the first down, Gus, you're going to try to get out of bounds. You've got to get horizontal right now. Get out of bounds.
Mason has had a spectacular day. Second down and about 3. This one underthrown, intended for Yancey Thigpen. So that'll bring up third down and short. Al Del Greco, and where do the Titans need to go to get into field goal range?
Well, in pregame warm-ups, Al Del Greco is kicking them from 50-52, so they've got to at least get to the 35-yard line in Philadelphia to have any chance whatsoever.
And 65,693 fans are going nuts right now here in Philly. McNair to the sideline, caught and out of bounds. Chris Sanders picks up the first down and stops the clock at 1:07. And Al Del Greco has had some critical misses in the past few weeks. Here's week 11 against the Ravens. It cost him the game, falling 24-23. Last week against the Jaguars, he hooked it, and the Jags ended up winning it 16-13. But today, he's 4 of 4, but the money kick is coming. First and 10. McNair dumps it off. George on the screen. George bounds up and goes down to 49. The rookie Corey Simon with the tackle, and it's a gain of 1, and the clock continues to run.
Boy, and Tennessee had that screen set up great, except Eddie George double caught the ball. He didn't get it right off the bat fresh, so he had to wait a second and allow the Eagles defenders to catch up and make the tackle.
Remember, the Titans have no timeout. McNair underneath Mason, caught, and he is manhandled at the 45. Clock continues to run, and they need about what, Brent? 10 yards?
They need 10 yards. They got to get the first down, Gus. First of all, and boy, wish those Eagles had that 30 or 40 seconds back on that third down pass they threw.
McNair to the sideline, first down, and Sanders gets out of bounds. So they're right around Del Greco's range.
It's getting close. It's about 54 from right there, Gus. That's pushing it, especially in cold weather. You know, in cold weather, that ball hardens up. And when you've got a hard ball, you don't get the spring off the foot like you'd like to have in warmer weather.
And Del Greco has not attempted a field goal over 50 yards this season. First and 10.
Only 13 seconds left. They're going to have to stay out of bounds, inbounds, and this game's over.
McNair to the sideline. White check with the catch out of bounds to the 32. And this would be about a 50-yarder. Do you do it one more time, or do you go for it right now?
I go one more time. I take a 5-yard shot. You'd sure like to get in 45. You want to be inside 50. 50 is a long field goal, Gus. The one thing that the Eagles know is it's going to be a square-out route, something on the sideline. So I put a couple safeties over the top, tell my corners to gamble for that interception.
Remember, no timeout. The Titans have to get out of bounds. Or incomplete. And McNair wisely dumps it. With 6 seconds to go, do you try one more?
No.
Here comes Del Greco.
You take your 50-yard shot.
Now Del Greco is good today from 22, 26, 42, and 44. This will be from 49 yards out.
I think the Eagles got to take a timeout right here. Let Al Del Greco think about those last couple of misses he's had.
And they do.
That's right. Let the fans get riled up. The fans were caught off guard. They weren't screaming loud enough yet. we've talked about Al Del Greco missing the last couple of key field goals in his last couple of games. He's had a couple of key makes, though, throughout the season. This one in overtime versus Kansas City. And we had this Pittsburgh game, Gus, where he came in and tried to ice him. He put it right down the middle. So he has had some success. He's been a clutch kicker over his career. But the mental game, Gus, the last couple of weeks, thinking that it's come down to you and you haven't been able to make the kick, and the losses, everybody looks back at you. And we talked to Jeff Fisher yesterday, and he said, I'm not giving him any special treatment. He's a kicker. He's expected to do his job just like everybody else on the team.
In his 17th year, his long on the season is 46 yards. This from 49 for the win. Make it 50. Gets it down, it's up, and it is good! Al Del Greco from 50, and he has a career high 5 field goals, and the Titans win it 15-13. And they are stunned here in Philadelphia. Al Del Greco has been criticized the last few weeks for missing crucial field goals. Today, he hits one of the biggest of the season.
And Gus, he's just going to drive this. He kicks it low to get more length, and you can see it was almost blocked, but it had the length, and it was right down the middle, no doubt. He wasn't trying to get it to turn left or right or anything.
And Jeff Fisher stuck with him, refused to get down on his veteran kicker. And today, Del Greco wins a game for his coach as he returns to Philly. Tough loss for Andy Reid.
And you can see this kick's low. Got to drive it because he knows in this type of weather you got to get the distance. That's a hard ball to kick. Gets over by a couple of yards. And what a big win. And hey, both these teams, Gus, they're going to both be in the playoffs. Philadelphia has Cincinnati and Cleveland coming up. They'll manhandle those teams. They'll still get into the playoffs.
Donovan McNabb obviously upset over Brent Jones and Beasley Reese. I'm Gus Johnson saying so long for Philadelphia, where our final score is 15-13 Titans. Coming up, stay tuned for Game 2 of our doubleheader, the Colts versus the Jets, or Cleveland and Jacksonville. The executive producers of the NFL on CBS, Sean McManus and Terry Ewert. Today's game produced by Herman Monsbach and directed by Steve Milton.